So it turns out the mission was impossible. Readers may recall our caper last March, attempting to visit Loch Kelden to capture one last photo before its approaching demolition. The 3-story Spanish Mission Revival mansion overlooking Lake Washington had been completed in 1907 by Roland Denny, the youngest member of the pioneer Denny Party. We requested a final tour from the Unification Church, which had used the 1.7-acre property as a domicile and retreat since 1974. With its $6 million sale to developers still pending, the church turned us down. So we took to the water. Accompanied by Roland's great-grandniece Maria Denny, we boarded a cabin cruiser and, floating offshore, took now photos of the mansion gleaming over her shoulder. Well, demolition was delayed, but sadly only by months. Days before Christmas, we received news that the end was nigh. Mere minutes remained before the main structure of the house would be leveled. I grabbed a camera and made a beeline to Loch Kelden. Unattended, I toured the denuded mansion, snapping photos. Soon I was joined by Aaron Blanchard, Director of Operations of Earthwise Architectural Salvage. We removed beautiful fir paneling, pocket doors, leaded glass, and stained glass windows, he said, along with 8,000 to 10,000 board feet of old-growth wood. Earthwise also saved the mansion's front door, rumored to contain wood from the original 1851 Denny cabin. Incredibly cool, Blanchard said, was the horsehair terracotta cornice above the door in the shape of a clamshell. Now, this clamshell could be a sly reference to infant Roland Denny's survival, credited to Duwamish-provided clam nectar. Well, after our spring caper, readers expressed shock and dismay over the pending demolition. Many asked how such a historic structure could be torn down without public input. What about city landmark status? University of Washington architecture professor Jeffrey Carl Oxner notes that the state Supreme Court affirmed in 1990 a claim by Seattle's First Covenant Church that landmark designation infringed on religious freedom. The First Covenant ruling created a loophole in landmarks law, Oxner says. Now what happens is a consecrated church building owner reaches a deal with a developer while the church is still consecrated. Then they get a demolition permit. This bypasses the landmarks process. Next, the church deconsecrates and sells to the developer. The demolition permit transfers along with the property. For Maria Denny, the razing feels like the loss of a family member. And it's sad to think that a little piece of history is gone. Well, some may quarrel with little. In this specific case, and as an example for our city's future. In our first then photo, a 1913 portrait of Loch Kelden's entry foyer. The fireplace welcomed visitors coming through the mansion's front door, which looked east over Lake Washington. In our second then photo, Loch Kelden, ivy-covered in 1926. The 3-story, 7,700-square-foot mansion stood on a 50-acre waterfront estate bordered by old-growth forest. In our first now photo, minutes before demolition, Aaron Blanchard poses for the last photo of the mansion's interior. We have mixed feelings taking apart a historical place like this, he says, but anything we don't rescue just ends up in a landfill. Earthwise has been reclaiming building materials for resale in its stores since 1991. Our second now photo shows the final view of Loch Kelden's exterior, taken December 18th, 2024, just moments before the walls came down. Our third now photo shows an excavator with a grapple bucket toppling the south end of the mansion, turning structural timber into matchsticks. Our fourth now photo shows Jeffrey Carl Oxner, University of Washington professor of architecture. Our fifth now photo is of the mansion's front door and horsehair terracotta cornice, molded in the shape of a clamshell.